Hello, moviegoers! Welcome to another episode of CritiCarter, the show where I turn you into a cinephile. Earlier today, I saw the new film Haywire, directed by Steven Soderberg, written by Lem Dobbs, and starring Gina Carano, Michael Angarano, Channing Tatum, Michael Douglas, Antonio Banderas, Ewan McGregor, Michael Fassbender, and Bill Paxton.
Bill!
Do you know Bill Paxton, DJ?
No.
Okay. After a failed attempt on her life, a contract killer goes rogue and seeks revenge on those who have wronged her. I was really unsure about this film going into it, mostly because I had never heard of the lead. It turns out that Gina Carano is a mixed martial arts fighter who Steven Soderberg saw and, I don't want to say fell in love with her, but for all intents and purposes, saw and fell in love with her and decided to craft a movie around her and her persona. Most of the time when you have somebody who's not an actor that comes into the movie industry, it is a miserable failure. Think about films like Cool as Ice, the Vanilla Ice film. Yes, there was Vanilla Ice film. I'm very sorry. Because Soderberg's nearing the end of his career, he can take a chance like this and not really see a lot of consequences. Fortunately, taking an MMA fighter and making her the lead in a film turned out wonderfully for him. Her experience adds a very visceral and naturalistic feel to the fight scenes. You know, it's not some crazy, wild Hollywood usual thing where you've got stuntmen and they go above and beyond the limits placed on them by reality. Fights have always been something that baffle me when I see them on the big screen. I don't know how you can make it look like two people are really going at it the way that they do in this movie and have somebody not suffer for it. From the little that I've seen of his other works, this film has Soderberg's name written all over it. There's great action set pieces. You know, each fight is distinct from everything that came before it. It never seems stale. And in those set pieces, you got long spans of screen time that just goes on and on and on with very little dialogue, if any. And usually when there's not, when you don't have your characters communicating with each other, that doesn't really go well for me most of the time. There's just something about the way that the fights were choreographed so well, and again, this is probably Carano's MMA training coming out. The audience really feels every time that she makes contact with whoever her enemy is at that point. I hope I mentioned this in my review of Dragon Tattoo a few weeks back, but it's very interesting to see how an audience reacts to the female on male violence, because a lot of the times they're going to, they see the same kind of thing that occurs in a movie where it's usually, two guys beating each other up, but for whatever reason they have a completely different reaction to it. And while the movie worked out a lot better than I thought it was going to, it was not by any means perfect. First of all, you spend the first, I want to say 45 minutes maybe, of the film, you have your main character telling the story of the events that have happened to her that led up to the point that she's telling the story. To Michael Angarano's character, who's the guy that owns the car that she steals to make her getaway in an early bit of the movie. And it just seemed very odd to me. Why not just take the keys and leave on her own? Now, I've been having this problem with a lot of the movies I've been watching lately that I haven't reviewed for the channel. They're told out of order for seemingly no reason. And some films can pull that off really well. Pulp Fiction is a story told in chunks that aren't A, B, C to D. In this film, it doesn't really work like that. You have Carano and Angarano. They get in the car, they start driving away. She's telling the story, and at specific points, she'll stop, and they'll go back to, the present. She'll say, okay, now I need you to repeat the names back to me that I've just been telling you. Film is not that complicated. Why did Dobbs, if it was his idea, when he was writing the script, why did Dobbs think that we needed to pause and be reminded about the things going on in the story? I say just start in the beginning, go to the end. Sometimes it's not a bad idea. The other thing, and this is not something that's exclusive to this film, in a lot of espionage type movies, the people are drinking a lot. And you'd think when you're in that kind of a profession, when you'd have to be at the top of your mental game because you have to fight with people, and sometimes those people have guns. Like there's a lot of gunplay in this movie, not so much by the main character, but by her opponents. When you've dulled your senses with alcohol, it doesn't seem like the best idea to be getting into hand-to-hand combat. Maybe that's just me not suspending my disbelief enough to properly enjoy the film. At the end of the day, I'm going to give this a solid 3.5 out of 5 deadly female assassins. I know if you weren't wondering, in the very beginning, you're probably wondering by now, Carter, weren't we supposed to be seeing a review of Shame this week? Yeah, about that. The independent theater in Orlando where I go see movies like that, they're still showing The Artist. Shame got pushed back another week, so fingers crossed. That'll be what you guys get to see next week. I don't know for sure, but let's hope. I wouldn't be where I am today without the help of DJ and Sabrina, so I would like to promote another film blogger that I came across recently. His name's Aaron. He is only 15, but he writes better than a lot of people my age and beyond that I've seen. It just, when I first read some of his stuff, it just blew me away. So you can go to theshortmoviereviews.blogspot.com, read his stuff, subscribe to the RSS feed if that's your thing, leave comments. This is the internet. We're all entitled to our opinions. Also, last week Disney released their second 3D post-conversion film, Beauty and the Beast, following up on the tale of Lion King a few months back. I was wondering, back in the 90s we had the Disney Renaissance where, films came out like Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Lion King, Pocahontas, Hunchback of Notre Dame, Hercules, Mulan, and Tarzan. But now we've seen the CGI take over, mostly through Pixar. Toy Story, Bug's Life, Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo, Incredibles, Cars, Ratatouille, WALL-E, and Up. Now if we take the nostalgia glasses off for a second and really hone in on what makes a movie good, which do you prefer? If you can, go and see the old movies again and compare them to the work of Pixar or DreamWorks if you'd rather. And tell me what you prefer, because I care about you and I want to know what you think. As always, last week's review of The Iron Lady, over there. Next week, whatever it is, hopefully Shame, over there. Give me a thumbs up if you liked the video, favorite it, subscribe to the channel, etc., etc., etc.
I like you added the last one for dramatic effect. Little pause.
I'm trying. I honestly, I'll do whatever I can to salvage this. I'm just all over the place. I don't know. Fade to black.